2024 Genesis GV60 Performance, and today we are going to compare it to a Tesla Model Y. Now this is the long range, but I've driven a Performance in the past. I'm mainly going to talk about the ergonomics of both of these cars, what the Genesis does way better than the Tesla, and what the Tesla does way better than the Genesis. Now the one thing we have to start with that we can't ignore is the pricing of the Genesis. This costs around $70,000, and this is the highest end model because it's the performance version. Coming right around the front here to show you what I'm talking about, one of the main differences is the wheels on this. So this is a 21-inch wheel wrapped in an all-season tire, 255/40/21. And one of the biggest complaints with Tesla is that it's loud in the car, the ride is hard, and a lot of that has to do with the tires. But this has a 21-inch tire and it rides incredibly smooth. It has active noise canceling in it. And even at high speeds, you can listen to a podcast or something at a much lower volume than I have to in my Tesla Model Y. Overall though, I think it's an interesting looking vehicle. Now, one of the things that Tesla does better is their packaging, their motors. Everything about a Tesla is extremely well done because all they ever did was build electric vehicles. And that's very apparent in the front. You see, the Genesis up front here is like a normal internal combustion engine car. You might as well have an engine up here. You can basically fit your cell phone and that's about it. Or you can sit your cell phone down in this little hammock here and you could pretend you're on vacation in Hawaii. But really what you're doing is you're working your 9-to-5 job and you're miserable at your desk and you're watching me instead. Now, if you come over to the Tesla, look at this. You own property over here. This is nice. You can fit things in here. It's actually usable. This is also the most secure part of the car because the criminals can't smash your hood in, right? They're not gonna smash through this, they're gonna smash your windows. So keep all your valuables up here. This is extremely hard to get to. So in terms of packaging, Tesla has a lot more space, and these also aren't totally comparable in terms of size, especially when you come to the rear of the Tesla Model Y. Every single Tesla that is made has this storage space and it's extremely useful. I can keep this area all wide open, but then when I cut down to here, I can have a compressor here in case I get a flat. I have my charging cable. I have my sunshade from Vion. I have these pucks for if the car needs to get jacked up. I even have an extra blowout kit. If the kid has an explosion on the roadway, we can clean that all up. All of that is stored with plenty of extra space for more, letting me keep this all open along with 2 storage compartments back here. Not everyone needs that though. And the Genesis GV60 still has a ton of space in the rear of the car. So as I've said in previous videos, Andrew is 5'15", also known as 6'3". So you can sit in the back, even behind him. I'm 5'12", so I can sit behind him like this and still have plenty of space. The other thing I like about the interior of this, you have the Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's very good. And you have this Alcantara or suede liner here on the door cards, and that also goes all over these A pillars, B pillars, and the roof line. So it's really well done. You also have air conditioning here, not in the middle, so you can actually aim it up to your body or whatever you like, and I actually like this positioning a lot better. I do think that this is a little weird. It's kind of almost like they just bolted it on there. But overall, it's very functional. You have rear heated seats. You have this nice, really big button to put the windows up and down. Then obviously your door handle here, but also the Napa leather that they've lined the entire interior with is very nice. You even have these diamond stitched seats, which look incredible. They feel nice. Heated seats in the rear, heated and cooled seats in the front. And with the center console, you can do the full reach through. I've never seen that in a vehicle before. Now, the other thing I really like about, I've driven the Genesis G80 electric, I've driven the GV70 electric, and now the GV60 electric. These are excellent vehicles, and they actually have the same max charging speed as the Tesla Model Y at 250 kilowatts. You need to go to a 350 kilowatt charger to get the 250 out of the Genesis, whereas the Tesla, if you go to a 250 kilowatt charger, you get the 250. So I'm not sure why that difference is. You'll have to let me know in the comments because you guys always have the answers. The steering wheel's incredible. It's almost like an Aston Martin look with a white wheel. It's very rare for cars to have these, but Genesis isn't kidding when they say we are making a luxury vehicle. They produce excellent vehicles. And when you compare even their gas cars to an expensive German car, you start to question why you're spending so much for an Audi, Mercedes, or BMW when you can get this that outperforms it in almost every aspect. Some things that I like about this, I think there are too many buttons up here. It's a little too confusing. You have this right here to quickly adjust your steering wheel, whereas in the Tesla, there's not that quick little switch here. I have to click on the screen, I have to go to controls, and then I have to go to steering, and then from there I'm able to adjust the steering wheel with the control balls that are on the steering wheel. So it is a nice feature. It's cool that you can use these balls for so many different things on here, but if you're at a stoplight or something and you need to make a quick adjustment and you're trying to think, okay, is the light going to turn? Do I need to make an adjustment? That's where I can see some people being slightly frustrated. And I've owned this car for over 3 years now, so you would think that I'd be used to it. And I still have to think, okay, where do I go to adjust that? So it's just little things like that. Tesla's philosophy is the best part is no part. They're trying to eliminate shift stocks and put everything into the screen and make it intuitive. So it's cool. But I just think selling someone on going to an EV is hard enough. Then adding these obstacles in the way can deter people. And that's where I think Genesis comes in and offers a really nice package. Two unique features I'd like to show you on the Genesis. First off, I've seen several Genesis that have this. I can adjust the passenger seat from right here, as opposed to going over here and reaching over and trying to grab it. They just keep this luxurious and keep it right here for the driver. Also, the glove box right here pulls straight out as opposed to folding down. I kind of thought that was interesting as well. What's this, the Bible? Yeah. And that just presses right back in, and that's a nice feature. And the other thing that I like about the Genesis is this open space here. If you want to, you know, give your passenger a little rub here, you can do that. There's just this nice open space. It makes it feel kind of like a living room. I like that this isn't connected right here. You have your two cup holders. You have storage up here. You have a little bit of storage in the center console, and we're also able to throw our phone on a wireless charger right there, so you're able to do that as well. And this is a really nice place for a wireless charger. One downside of, and I think all the Genesis I've tested have this, is it has wired Apple CarPlay. So it's good it has Apple CarPlay, because Tesla doesn't offer that, and if you really want that, you have to get something other than a Tesla. And I just wish that it was wireless, especially with how luxurious this car is. They need to fix that. One thing that's important when purchasing an EV is making sure that it has a battery conditioning mode. So you can see that it's checked on here, and basically what that does is when it's cold outside, it will get the battery up to the appropriate temperature to be able to charge as fast as possible. Some EVs do not have this, so that's something to look into. The Tesla is very good at this. When you start to get within a certain range of a charger, the car will time it perfectly to get the battery warmed up so you can get fast charging. The Genesis GV60 also has that feature when you have a charger set as a destination, so that's good. It also has utility mode. So in the Tesla, this is called camp mode. So when the car is off, you're still able to use the audio system, interior lighting, and you could probably even set the AC to some extent, so that's really good. You can change the deceleration, so you can do faster deceleration, normal or slower and smooth deceleration, and that can also be set by these paddle shifters right here. You can make it slower deceleration or more deceleration. I think that's all good features. Now on the steering wheel here, there's a couple things to go over. The first thing here, there's just this dot. This can be programmed to do a bunch of different features. So currently I have it programmed here to go to just EV modes. So when I click it, it brings up this page right here where you can go into various features of your car. You can set the charging limit, how fast it's going to get there. It gives you electricity use and your EV economy history, so it gives you all of that information. But basically, if I hold this in, I'll be able to go to this screen, which then lets me scroll through all the options that I can set this button to. You have your cruise control button here, and you can increase the speed or lower the speed or set and resume. You can click this in actually as well. This is your follow distance. This is your lane keep assist. And this right here lets you scroll through various screens on your display that's right in front of you. So that's what all of that does. Over here, I don't know what this star button does. Okay, it's another custom steering wheel button. You're able to set your desired function. Again, just like the dot over here. This is your volume, and this is pick up or hang up a call here. Then you have your drive modes here. If you click this, we have 3 different drive modes. We have Eco, And in eco mode, we're at 72%, we're showing 155 miles of range. In comfort mode, 150 miles of range. Sport mode, 145 miles of range. I really like that they show you the range differences between all the modes. And then this boost button here adds approximately 50 horsepower for, I think it's 10 seconds. And this really works. Like if you have your throttle at a consistent place and then you hit the boost button, the car puts you back a little bit. It's very impressive, and we're gonna do a 0 to 60 test here shortly, showing the performance of that. This button here is just haptic feedback, and you can scroll through this screen right here, but we have the hood up, so it's not moving through. But overall, it's very easy to get used to all of this, especially these buttons right here. This is your auto hold feature, which when you let off at a stoplight or something, you don't have to keep your foot on the brake, heated steering wheel, park assist, and it even has cameras in the front of the car to show exactly what is in front of you, and a 360 camera show exactly what's above you and all of that. And the Tesla doesn't have that front-facing camera, and it's actually something that they need to put in because it's very helpful to be able to see exactly where you're at in that vehicle. Now that we've kind of covered all of that with inside the car, I guess we could also talk about it has this panoramic roof, so that's a nice feature. The glass itself is fixed, but the motor, when you do that, it goes ahead and closes up, and it again has this suede roof liner here, so it's just a really clean look and it's quiet. Now in terms of this being a luxury vehicle, they really didn't miss anything. Even the rear brake caliper, it's painted in a finished black, and it even says Genesis on it. Whereas other manufacturers, and especially Tesla, even on these front brake calipers, those are painted aftermarket, but normally they just come silver unless you get the performance version, which has the nice painted red ones. While this is a more expensive car, they've gone to the nth extent to make everything nice. They didn't leave any stone unturned, and I really appreciate that about this. It's enough talking about this car. Let's get in it and drive it and compare it to the Tesla Model Y on a driving test along with a 0 to 60 test. All right, for the 0 to 60 run here, car is good to go. State of charge is 63%. We're gonna put the drive mode into sport. Then we're going to hit the boost button. I'm gonna reset the 0 to 60 timer here. We're recording, boost. All right, 0 to 30. Wow, holy cow. 3.9 seconds. 0 to 30 was verified at 1.8 seconds. For reference, I got the boost upgrade on my Model Y. So the best run I've done in that is 4.13 seconds. We broke 4 seconds on this with boost activated. Let's do this one more time and see what we get. 0 to 60 timer is reset. Boost engaged. Chirps. It has like a front wheel drive bias to it, it feels like. That's kind of interesting. Got 4.75 seconds to 60. Again, that's with boost activated. Interesting. So 4.75 and 3.9 seconds are what I got. I think the wheel spin, and also has all-season tires on it. Although my Model Y was able to, without chirping the tires, my Model Y was able to do 4.13 seconds, and it does that consistently. So yeah, there's no doubt this thing is incredibly quick while also being luxurious. So it kind of hits everything. Sometimes when you get a sports car that's really fast, it's also uncomfortable to be in. This is very quick, it's quiet, and it also is an interesting size. You know, it's not some massive SUV or anything like that. It sits up higher than a sedan, but it sits a little lower than an SUV. So I think you get really good visibility on the road. The steering wheel feels expensive and nice. So I really enjoyed that part about it. I drove a Rivian recently, and I can't believe the steering wheel. I actually just got a Rivian. So on the Rivian, it almost feels like a Ford product. It feels very thin. It should be expensive. It should feel like this does. This feels really nice. But overall, you know, driving this is a pleasure. It has a variable suspension as well. So based on what drive mode you're in, so we're in sport mode right now, so it's gonna firm up the suspension. If I click the button on the steering wheel to go to eco mode, the steering lightens up and the suspension softens up. So you have an adaptable suspension. Like, I can't say this enough, I appreciate what Genesis does to their vehicles. They're excellent. I can't say that enough. And on top of that, a lot of people are nervous about getting electric cars because like, what's it gonna cost to replace the battery? I mean, that's a fair concern. But another thing to know is most EVs that are out, almost every EV that's out in the market right now has a solid warranty to it. So like for this, for example, is 8 years or 100,000 miles. Tesla, I think on the Model S is 8 years, 150,000 miles. My Model Y is 8 years, 120,000 miles. So you can get these with higher mileage, and the biggest concern on it is going to be if the battery, is it covered? And it will be because of those warranties. So I wouldn't make that as much of a concern right now because all these are so new. Just get whichever one fits you best, and I think you're really going to enjoy how this drives. But I really appreciate Hyundai and Genesis for, you know, just letting me test and do whatever I need to. And they build solid cars. Like, I'm not out here to tear someone down or say things that are gonna put one above the other. I just call it how I see it, and that's it. And that's why people watch these videos. So to summarize my thoughts on this compared to the Tesla has better software. It's constantly being updated. They listen to their user base and they add features that us as users of Teslas want to see added. They even let you vote on where you want the next chargers to be. So you can see how valuable that is to a consumer. The other thing that Tesla has that this doesn't are security cameras around it. So I have Sentry mode. I'm able to record and see what's going on in real time around my car. If an accident happens in front of me, I press a button, my car records it. And I think that's all very useful features. They both have camp modes. You're able to use these, shut the car off and use the sound system and plug in your electronics and all of that stuff, so that's all good. The Tesla has more storage as we showed, and the Tesla also costs less. But the reason that the Tesla costs less is because the quality of this is built at the Model S or X. The Model S and X both have active sound deadening, which this has. They also have adaptive air suspensions. This has an adaptive suspension. It's not an air suspension, but this is built to that level of quality, and that's why it costs more. This is also quieter, and I feel it gets true range, whereas on the Tesla, I felt it gets 70 to 80% of its advertised range. Tesla will advertise that their EPA rating is 330 miles on the Model Y, and the EPA rating is 55% highway driving and 45% city driving. Those numbers are mixed together. I just don't understand why companies like Porsche, for example, they make the Porsche Taycan. They say our car gets about 220 miles of range. In third-party testing, when they real-world test it going 70 miles per hour on the highway, it gets over 300 miles of range. Tesla seems to be one of the only ones that's the opposite, to where you're like, hey, this doesn't seem accurate, and you're getting less range. So I'd say the Model Y and this are about the same in range, and they have the same battery size. This is 77.4 kilowatt hours. My Model Y is 75. The new Model Y long range is 81 usable kilowatt hours. So they're fairly equivalent in that as well. Model Y is a little bit bigger, costs less, but overall I think you're going to really enjoy owning this thing. It's very quick, has a lot of usable features, and it has familiar features. The steering wheel, too many buttons in my opinion, but it's familiar. A lot of cars have a bunch of buttons and you're able to easily access them while purchasing an electric car and being able to enjoy the benefits of charging at home. And when you're driving around town, when you're charging at home, it's great. You never have to go in for oil changes. You don't have to go to gas stations or public chargers. If you're staying within a 150-mile radius of your house, you're going to be able to have no issues with this and enjoy this more than having a gas car because of what comes with that. Road trips, this could be an issue because they will have access to the Tesla charging network. They don't quite have it yet, but they will. That will make road trips a lot easier because Tesla has the most reliable charging network in the world. Tesla is famous for autopilot and full self-driving. I don't think full self-driving is worth it, but autopilot I do really like. So this has a dynamic cruise control with lane keep assist, so we're staying in the lanes right now. It's keeping me in here. It's very good. It's working very nicely. I'm able to change my follow distance here. I'm able to change the speed that I want the maximum speed to be with this dial right here, and it's working very well. I think they use radar for this, which seems to work great. Keeps me in the lane. It's not bouncing around like other vehicles are, so I really have no complaints about this as well. And even engaging it was easy. So click this button right here and that turns it off. Okay, so now it's turned off. So if I click this button once, that engages it fully. Set to a speed, increase my speed, and then can click this for follow distances. There's settings 1 through 4 for follow distance. Well, it's crazy. Like, there's a C7 Corvette right there. This acceleration about matches that. And that's what's crazy about electric vehicles is, for the enthusiast, they take away, in my opinion, who has the best numbers. And then if you want an enthusiast vehicle, you should just get whatever brings you the most joy in driving, whether that's a manual transmission vehicle or whatever. Electric vehicles are going to win in a straight line, so it's best just to get whatever makes you happiest driving it. But you can see we got blind spot detection right there, showing me something's coming over here, so that's kind of nice. We'll put the drive mode into comfort. Comfort showing 125 miles at 57%. And then over here, like I said earlier, we're able to go through these screens right here, showing our tire pressure, current trip, average, watt hours per mile, all that type of stuff. You're able to kind of swerve through. You can get your music, turn-by-turn route guidance is on there. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, a lot of familiar features on this. It's very quiet. It's just a joy to drive. I have the GoPro's failing again. I have the cooled seats on right now, so I'm able to do driver only air conditioning. That saves battery because the rest of the vehicle is unoccupied. It just has air going to the driver, so that saves battery. And again, this comes with the vehicle. My Tesla got that software update and added that feature. So that's the power of the software, and that's why that is important to me. But again, a lot of people don't want that. They don't want to only have the screen, and that's why I think it's great these other companies are making very well-built cars that are also EVs. So I hope this video is helpful to you, but I told you about the Genesis GV70, and I want you to watch this video right here where I compare that to my Tesla Model Y. That's a much more comparable vehicle in size, and I enjoyed that as well. So you're gonna wanna watch this to have a more informed buying decision.